Diadem, living positive regardless. Doesn't matter the point at which you are in life, but we love positivity all the way. Yes, we talk about, this is a channel where we talk about positivity and we encourage each other, and we talk about life issues that happens in our day-to-day life. And the only reason as to why we have Suzie Yule Diadem is to try and see how life can be positive regardless of everything else that is happening. So today I have an exciting time with my guest, and we shall be discussing a topic that I shall introduce as I invite my guest. But even before I tell you about today's topic, I'm excited because of where I am. I am in Kiambu County. I hope I am right. I am in Kiambu County at a place called Bustani Bistro. It's a nice place where it's actually along the road, along Kimbo. Once you get through the Kimbo Road, this should be Gatundu Road, is it? Yeah. So when you on few meters from now, Bika Road, the main road, and then now it's just at along the roadside. So this is a very nice place, guys. I told you I shall be showing you some nice places where you can visit, come and relax. You know, after working, I also like relaxing. You've seen me going out with my girls. So here, the reason I love this place is it's such a serene place for everything. Everything I mean, if you want to relax, just be somewhere, you do your nyama chop, you do your foods, you do your drinks. This is a nice place to be. Now the other side, the reason I say for everything is if you want to work, especially now, Corona introduced us to working at home. So if you're working at home and you want somewhere you can relax with your computer and just have your time, this is a very nice place. And especially, I would say this, especially on weekdays. Like today, I'm here on a Friday. You can see how cool and calm the place is. So you just come. For example, let's say you even, like me, I came with my car, so we have a beautiful and a nice place for car wash. So you just come, leave your car, it is attended there. And now maybe you want to have your food. We have a kitchen with ready meals. And I must tell you guys, this is a nice place to even eat from here. I want to show you, I'll just show you around and show you some of the nice places they have here. And they are very serene, and then the place is quiet. I like the fact that the place is so quiet. You can see we have like this part here. Maybe you came with your friends and you wanted to have time to catch up. Now, another beautiful thing is about the events. Like me, I'm a lady. We like baby showers, birthdays, and all that. Nice places to do. If you came like here, you can have your car set up there, and the girl is coming in, you're saying surprise. You know, I like such things. Yeah, so we have such places. You can choose to do it on an open garden. You can see they have such a beautiful open garden. For me, you know, I love, of course, by now you know I love waters. So you can see the background of the water body. I mean, this place is just awesome. So I wouldn't hesitate to recommend for anyone. If you came here, sometimes I just come here and I just want to do maybe my office work where I'm working from home. You know, we say working from home, quotes in quotes, but you can see now you can go to either of the two tents or the two houses that you're seeing there. On weekends, maybe you want to go somewhere with your family and relax. This is a children-friendly place because I've realized, though they have drinks, you know, this channel, we don't want to talk about them, but so it doesn't become the places where you find the clubbish kind of life where it is not controllable, where you don't want to come with your kids. So this is a family-friendly space for you where you can come with your children. Just let the children run around because you can see the space. I hope you're able to see how the place is spacious. You're able to run up and down in the place. Yeah, as you relax with mama and you talk 2-3 things that maybe you need to talk. Because sometimes it is good to talk out of the house, especially when there are some issues like we would be discussing today. So you come with mama and maybe you just sit somewhere, get a corner, order your food, take your drinks, discuss the children as they go around at mna fight, and life continues to be good. So guys, I'll continue showing you nice places. This, I told you, it is in Kiambu County, few meters from I think we've gone, how many minutes are we from Thika Road? We've come like not around 10 minutes from Thika Road, right? So you can come here and enjoy your time. Kando na hiyo, let me introduce you to our guest and the topic of today, and I know you will love it because today couples mumefikiwa. So today I'm talking about marriage issues and relationship issues, about what happens in relationship, why it is so wrong for someone, especially when we do like weddings, someone to be brought by their parent to you in your hands, and the parent blesses you and tells you, I have left you to take care, you go and make a family. Every parent is when they are giving, it's like you go and make a family. It's so wrong when all that has been done, then the end result is that so and so was killed, so and so killed themselves because of the same blessing that they were given. So these are the issues that we want to talk about today, and I really hope that someone out there will reason and will get the help. And I ask of you, my viewers, please continue sharing this information. You never know who needs to hear this. So karibuni sana. I'll introduce you to our guest. Guys, I'm excited today because as you can see, I have a guest on my left. I have a guest which is left, which is right. Hey, you know when I want to say the right and left, I normally do this, so I see which hand I write with. And today I have a very interesting topic that I would wish us to discuss, and I know that you will appreciate today's discussion. But even before I introduce why we are here, I want to introduce my guest. I'll give you an opportunity. Karibuni, my guys. Here we talk about positive living only. We impact each other with positive vibes in life that can keep us moving, because you agree with me that life can really suck. So we need some positive energy, and that's why we have Suzie Yule Diadem. So I'll start with you, madam, that you introduce yourself. Tell my viewers who you are, what you do for a living. Yes.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you for the invite. My name is Esther Muhia, or Esther Muhia Irongo. I'm a mother, a wife, and a child of God. What I do for a living, I am a gender specialist.
Okay.
Pleasure to be here.
Welcome.
Hi everyone. Thank you for inviting me, Susan. My name is Daniel Karanja. I am a father of 3, and so I'm married to 1 wife. For a living, I am a contract manager, that is a paralegal in a company called Ericsson. Thank you.
Wow. I'll just want to get right into it as the reason as to why we are here. And this channel I've talked about things to do with relationship and love issues, and we have shared different experiences that people have in life. And currently there are things that have really disturbed especially our nation. Let me talk of Kenya, that I know that I live in, where we hear so many stories happening every now and then about marriages, what people have done. Sometimes we have these wedding shows that come, but most of the time what breaks news in our issues to do with marriages is when chaos has happened. Recent times we've seen someone who was watching their wives taking away their lives, and it went viral. We've had so many cases of such things happening, until I reach a point and wonder, why are people loving each other to kill? And why are people loving each other kutesa? Why would you love me ukuje unitese? And that's why today I think viewers, I thought I would invite our guests so that we discuss on the same issues they are experienced in their lives. As you have heard, these are not students that we are with here. So I believe that we shall be informed, and we shall get the right information. And so maybe I'll start by asking, we are talking about relationship issues, and especially that goes hayway. We're not clapping for those who are making it. Congratulations, by the way, for those who are making it in marriage. Today let's discuss on when things go wrong. And maybe I would start by asking, do we have healthy relationship? Madam Esther?
Thank you. Let me start by saying marriage is good. I have been married for 12 years. And marriage is good. Healthy relationships, yes. And healthy relationship does not mean that people don't have miscommunication. It does not mean that 24 hours, 365 days in a year you're okay, and you don't have disagreements. But healthy relationships are marked by what happened after the disagreement. What are your building blocks that make you to see the bigger goal? And there are some of the points that I can give that can help us define what a healthy relationship is. One of them is open communication. Open communication means that even if I don't meet your expectations, I am coming from a background that has taught me to do things the way I do, and you're also coming from a background that has shaped who you are. So open communication is where I am not changing the other person to be like me, but I'm taking my partner and my spouse to be a complementer. Even if we don't do things the right way, we can complement each other to a better goal. The second one is where there is trust. Along the way, there are people who break trust amongst themselves, and trust does not break in a day. It breaks after small things that happen and they are unchecked along the way. And at that point, I can say is there is feedback and there is fun. Sometimes we think marriage is this serious thing, people don't have fun, people can't, they don't allow the young child in them to get back to life. It's a serious business. Give me money for food, give me money for this. Marriage should be fun, and the couples or the married people should find ways of coming back after issues and facing the challenges of life together, not as one person, but as a team. I was telling Daniel a few minutes ago that the world is very unfair. The cost of living is quite it's quite high.
Yeah.
So you can't be beaten by everything out there. And then you come to the house and you are still fighting. So people have to create their little heaven down here.
Okay.
So there are healthy relationships, and all of us, we should strive towards having healthy relationships.
Wow. Okay. Now, DK, I would have wanted to ask you directly that if then we have healthy relationship, do we have unhealthy relationship? But even before you answer that, I would want you maybe to give us an experience of you yourself in a marriage. How has been your experience in marriage? Can you invite people to marriage in the same marriages that we have had bad, scaring stories about?
Thank you. Yes, I would say number one, I've been married for the last 16 years.
Wow.
To the same person, I must add. And as my friend Esther has said, there are marriages that do work and that are working, and I would still believe that the majority of marriages are working, despite maybe the negative information out there. There are people who are enjoying their marriages. I would say, of course, the 16 years haven't been smooth as everybody else would want them to be. But I would say when you enter into a marriage relationship, and I would say marriage is the highest level of relationship, because you started by asking whether there are relationships that works, meaning I would say there are various relationships. Including when you are in a work environment, you are relating with your colleagues. In church, you are relating with your people there, with other people there. But now marriage represents the highest level of a relationship. And for any relationship, therefore, to work, then there are the basics that she has just mentioned. Is there trust? Is there respect from one person to the other? Is there proper communication? Are the communication lines open, that somebody can freely express their views, their feelings, their opinions? And therefore, if these things are open, then it works. I would say 16 years, as I said, of course, when you enter into a marriage relationship, and maybe this is also something that I tell those people who've just entered into marriage. Initially, of course, it's always a rough ride. Because this somebody you met, this lady or this man, when you're already maybe above 25 years. So for 25 years you've been socialized in a certain way of doing things, and now here comes somebody who also has his way of doing things, and somehow you have to adjust. And as you're trying to adjust, you want them to come and do things your way. they would want that you do them their thing. I mean, you do things their way, and therefore these are source of conflict. Now, the way you manage that period is very important because it creates a very firm foundation for then you to have a blossoming marriage. So I would say, from my experience, initial people say 5 years, can be 5 years, can be 2 years, I have no number to to prescribe how long it will be, because every day, even right now, I've said I'm 16 years in marriage, it's still a learning experience. And if you drop the ball, tomorrow you'll be hearing the next divorce announced. So it's work in progress every day, trying to make yourself better for the other person.
Yeah.
They tell us that marriage is about you being the right person and not the other person being right. So ensure that you're working on yourself to be the right person for your partner, and do not expect that he's working on himself or herself when you're not doing anything. Therefore, that's all I would say about marriage. And you've asked me whether I would invite people to get into marriage. Yes, I'm happy to sign those invitation letters for people to come into marriage. Because marriages do work, but come with the right attitude.
Wow. I like the fact that you put across that despite what you have had, there are marriages that are working. 16 years, 12 years, kidogo, hongera. Yeah, so what would you define as a toxic relationship?
Toxic relationship, I would want to see it as one that one partner doesn't feel, number one, safe in that marriage, doesn't feel appreciated. Whatever efforts that they are putting in that marriage, they don't feel that they are appreciated. The other person is not listening to their views, because we've said for a marriage to work, the communication lines have to be open, they have to be clear. I don't want to suggest something to my spouse and I'm afraid that I will be judged. I would want a situation whereby I am free to express my views, and she will receive them the way they come, then she will give her views. I must also be mature enough to receive, to be ready to receive her point of view. So if I don't give her room to express herself, I want my way or the highway, then chances are that's one channel that I'm creating for a conflict. The other thing I would say in a toxic relationship, before I even go talk about people who go physical, because now that's another level. There is a situation you may be in. Somebody just doesn't talk to you, and I would say this is one of the easiest things that maybe men find it to maybe. You just enter into a house, you're not talking to anybody. If you're kind enough, if you're asked a question, do you want to eat? If you're kind enough, then you will say yes, and it ends there. The conversation ends there. Whatever question you ask, you just say yes. There's no conversation because it has to be. I mean, you have to express yourself. She has to express yourself. So clearly, there's no communication. That's a recipe for chaos. Because somebody will end up, without knowing what is in your mind, they will end up doing something, thinking they're even pleasing you, and contrary to the expectation, then you react differently because you're also not expressing yourself. So that's a recipe of a toxic relationship. The one I've said about then fighting. And maybe this is the part that we say now, if somebody then ends up being physical on you, I think it's a very serious area that you don't want to be in that marriage, because you don't know where it can end. Yeah.
Oh, allow me to add to what you said. I mentioned that you get married, assume you are getting married at 20. You are meeting somebody who was in a system, in a family for 20 years. So they have a system, or they are coming from a background that informs the way they do things. So example of toxic marriage is where people come from backgrounds that are broken, and they have known no other way of doing things other than brokenness. Another way that can contribute is where you have people who have unchecked esteem, and they are believing that you are the one who will affirm them in terms of growing up and the way they do things. Issues of insecurity. So background plays a very major role in terms of toxic relationship. Other things is things to do with competition. Your peers are doing well than you, so you guys put more effort other than finding your own way as a couple. You want to compete with other people and then at that point there will be no communication. There's also issue of competition at a family level. When you go to the village, you can hear mtu anasema akienda kuchapa bibi that unajua nani mzee huku. That is already somebody who he feels his position is threatened, but he can't be able to voice it when he's sober and things like that. So unchecked esteem issues, issues of failing to honor each other, and also lack of position for feedback at a family level, where I feel that my husband is not a safe space, that we can't discuss things that concern us. I feel Susan is the safe space that where I can discuss everything. And then again, I would say toxic grows from issues that have not been addressed. If there's no place for feedback at family level, then it means that along the way you'll be just scratching the surface. And I can give an example. We usually say the Titanic. You know, people used to see ice cubes on the water. They did not know there was a hole. So most of the times, if you don't address these icebergs, you need to get to the root cause of the things that are causing disagreement in marriage. If they are not taken care of, now the iceberg will cause the marriage to break, and you will make it toxic, and the end result will be that breaking of marriage. So checking those small icebergs, miscommunication, feedback, esteem issues, finances, stress management, adjustment of life in case you're going through a financial strain. If you don't check all those things, they end up making your relationship face a huge iceberg, and at the end of it all, it becomes toxic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, these issues that happens in marriage, can they cause one to have mental illness? Can they, the fact that we are fighting a lot with you in the house, with everything, can we say that they are causing people maybe to have mental illnesses? Where is the position of mental stability in either a working or a failing relationship?
Yes, I would say number one, for marriage to work or to fail, maybe the mental issue could be the cause, or even the marriage itself can be a cause. There's somebody, I remember those 16 years when we were in engagement and we went for counseling to the pastor's office, and he told us that this marriage that you want to enter into can make you to go to heaven, or even can make you to change your destiny to hell. So, so you may have gotten somebody who will be accompanying you towards your journey to heaven or to hell, because it can turn out to be anything. So even in marriage, that's why I've said it can be the cause of mental illness, or the mental illness itself can be the cause of the problem in marriage. Now what I mean is, number one, because mental health, without going medical, because I'm not a medical practitioner, but I say mental health is just the state of your mind, the well-being of your mind, the psychological state, the emotional state, which influences the way you act, the way you feel, the way you think, and so forth. So if your mind, you're not in a proper state of mind, then it means then even relating with your spouse is a problem. If you're feeling, let's say, insecure, then you will always deal with your spouse with some degree of insecurity. If you're having some maybe anxiety, maybe you want to do something, but there's a lot of anxiety in you, then it influences the way you handle things, the way you handle issues. Now, if some of these things are not checked, then they day by day affect the way we relate with your spouse. Just the way you cannot be able to deliver at work, in the workplace, if you're having some psychological issues. Same case even in this marriage, which we've said is the highest level of relationship. If I'm not in a proper state of mind, it means I will not be able to relate in a proper, in a mature way with my wife. In case there is an issue that arises, she offends me, I will not be able to handle that issue in a proper way, because I'm not in a proper state of mind. Now, if you stay in what you've called a toxic marriage, where maybe if it's 5 p.m. and I'm I'm done with my work, I know the person I'm meeting at home is somebody we are not relating properly, then it means I will try to look for other areas to go instead of going directly at home, because I know the person I'll meet, we are not in good terms. If this prolongs, then it means it's affecting my well-being, my social, my mental well-being. So that's why I'm saying it can be either the source or it can be the outcome of a toxic marriage. Yes.
Wow.
Let me add something, and thank you, Daniel, for that. Mental health, I want to demystify, because when we talk of mental health, people think that umekuwa mwenda wazimu. The way I react to stress shows the status of my mental health.
Okay.
If somebody slaps me, the way I'll react. If somebody cut you in the traffic, it shows whether my mental health is okay or not. So when we say whether it is cause of breakage in marriage, I don't want to repeat what he has said, but I want to say we should not take mental health issues to be the people who are mad. We should take mental health status as people who have prolonged unchecked emotions, such that if somebody touches you, the way you react, if you react and you break things and all that, it means you are on another level. And again, I can give analogy of a balloon. If you have a balloon and it is full of air, there's a way you can remove that air. So a sober person has, is that balloon without air. But a stressed person is somebody who that balloon is full of air. You can choose to break that balloon. But if you have proper processes of dealing with your stress, it means when you burst it, let's for example, if you burst it once, it makes a sound, and it shows that there was a lot of air in it. But also you can choose to release air slowly. So a mental health, an individual who has a proper mental health status means that they are able to release their air slowly and they will not attract attention. In a marriage setup, that should be the case. That you're able to release your air slowly because you have the proper systems of discussing issues that concern you. Whether you have loans, whether the children don't have school fees for school and all that, you can be able not to blame each other because you are releasing air and looking at all the opportunities. But if you burst it once, it means that your issues, you're putting yourself in a status where you're you are taking the marriage to the level of having a toxic relationship. So in short, I am trying to say it's very important for people to understand mental health does not mean you're mad. It means that the way you react to issues is either you escalate them or you provide a proper structure to deal with them so that at the end of dealing with those issues, you are still sober. Yes.
I would wish to know some of these things that happen in marriages, now that you've been in marriage and I know you have experience with the married people. This thing, do they come up in marriage or you're able to tell them before you getting married into a relationship? How are you able to weigh and see this probably will lead to this? Is there a way? Ama inakwanga ni Mungu nisaidie as I am in there?
I believe all issues you can categorize them, DK, right? All issues. And I'll give an example. I said in the process of dealing with some of my friends. Remember, there are people who would quarrel because the husband does not get home early. The others who would quarrel, the husband gets home early and he does not help. So you can be able to categorize all the issues under specific thematic areas. And again, I'll go back to open communication. If you can't communicate about who will close the door, you cannot be able to communicate well who will pay school fees and who will pay. So if you don't have ways of how you communicate and how you gather feedback from each other, then it means all the aspects are affected. I usually say in marriage, all the building blocks contribute toward a healthy marriage. So if one block is unchecked, it means there's a gap. So, and for me, what ties all this is the open communication, because I can't mistrust you if there is open communication. I will not honor you. I will not fail to honor you if there is open communication. I will not fail to respect you. So the building block for me, I always say the major thing is open communication. And at that point, where is the point of return? I can give examples. I usually say when people, if you are a marriage counselor and we come here with DK, we are not a husband and wife. It's good to clarify. But let's assume you are the counselor when we come. Because there is broken communication at home, we compete who will say what. Because our communication is not working at home. What if we give each other an opportunity? And most of the time solutions don't come from the counselor. They will come from the two of you. So if you don't deal with communication at home, all the other issues will be an issue. The issue of like the car, who will take it to the petrol station, the issue of the school, where will our children go to school? So you can tell that all the issues in marriage can be put in specific thematic areas. Yes.
Oh.
Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, just to add, you're right. An interesting thing that one will quarrel because the husband is coming late. Another one is because he's coming early.
Late. Early and doing nothing.
So I don't know which is bad, which you would prefer. There's a question you had asked. I believe you also wanted to know whether some of those issues that will bring toxic relationships and marriages can be detected early before even
In a
entering that
relationship.
marriage. Yes, I would say some of them. Of course, I would say normally it's tricky because human beings have the ability to kind of kuficha rangi. That's what I hear it being called. So kind of pretending. Some can pretend for a very long time. But I think also on the other hand, most people also ignore the red flags.
Yes.
In the name of love. And one wise person, Miles Monroe, said love cannot sustain a marriage. So it's important. It didn't mean that it's not important, but it meant that it's not the only,
thing.
ingredient. Simply because you're in love, and now you think you're going to celebrate your 100th anniversary
together.
Yeah. I hear them say, upendo how cool you don't need love.
Yeah.
So because of love, in the name of love, there are so many things, even the very obvious red flags that people ignore. Like now you encounter somebody who is a narcissist. I think this is somebody who thinks it's only his way. He just wants to force his way. And maybe when you are dating, there is a conflict and they will want to impose their way on you. And because you're in love, then yes sir. And you imagine that you're going to change this person. Other thing, maybe you don't like somebody who drinks alcohol. And but now you've entered into friendship, you're in love with this person, and you discover that they do take alcohol. But then you think, oh, I'm going to change them. When we
I
enter
will
marriage.
pray until
Exactly,
they stop taking alcohol.
Yes. And please, you're not, they knew even when they were entering into that relationship, you should have known, and they knew that they were alcoholics. So you're not just about to change them. So some of those things we see them in people, but we ignore. We assume that I will make it. I think it's important that you have some bare minimum and say, for the person that I want in marriage, they have to pick a few of the critical things that you think you can live. There are some people who live with alcoholics and very happy. They are happy to collect them outside the gate when they come, because drunkards will always sleep outside the gate.
And wash them.
Na body pongo vya miguu inaishianga. Kule kwingine anakuja inaishia nje ya gate. So there are some people who will put up with that. And that's okay. So that's not their bare minimum requirement. Others will want some other things. So please have a list of the things that you know honestly. If this person does not have these things, I cannot cope with this. So that when you enter into a marriage, at least you know these things. Hata kama hii, because anyway, marriage is just a union of two imperfect people, not two perfect people. Two perfect people cannot live together.
Wow.
It's a union of two imperfect people. But where I am perfect, then you are imperfect. Where I am perfect, you are imperfect. Where I am perfect, you are imperfect. And where you're perfect, I am imperfect, then you make a very strong
Very strong bond.
Exactly. But if you are perfect, we cannot match.
Yeah.
If you are imperfect, we cannot. So it's a marriage of two where I have some perfection, you have some, and so forth. So you're able to move together.
Okay.
But of course, there has to be those bare minimums that if this box is not ticked, then I don't think I would want to continue this relationship.
If men have their checklist of the women they will need in life, but most of the time I've seen it's us ladies who we continue ticking. Even before he answers that, Madam Esther, let me ask now when now you are in a marriage, are there things that now you feel this one it's beyond? What are some of these things that you would look and say, this one we don't have to continue entertaining, or these ones we can continue entertaining? Are there gaps and boundaries?
Yes. I wanted to say I think the checklist for men starts with a cook. Let me talk about boundaries. Boundaries are very important. And then again I'll go to your checklist, and sometimes even if you don't have a checklist, the negative things that you saw in your girlfriend or boyfriend, they are multiplied times 20 times when you get in marriage. Because when you're not together, if for example he was not accountable with finances, what will happen when you're in marriage? It means you'll not be accountable 20%. So he has talked about bare minimum, but I also want to say, as you look at the bare minimum, look at the areas that the other person, you are not comfortable with the other person, and ask yourself, if it is multiplied by a multiple of 20, will I still cope with it? Issues of accountability, I would say most marriages, some examples, people come and tell you that hata tukienda date mimi ndio nilikuwa nalipa, mimi ndio nilikuwa nafanya, hakukuwa na fare. And then over time, you start saying that he's not provided. Yet it's something you entertained. He ticked the checklist. But this accountability, it's an area you said, I can cope with. So if you said you can cope with, at the multiple of 20, still cope with it. If you will not address it.
Okay.
Back to the question of boundaries. Boundaries are important. People should ask yourself, at what point will I go to a friend? At what point will I go to the church? At what point will I go to a professional helper? And at what point will I call it a quit? Let me start with violence. Violence is not good. There are people who say, in case he slaps me, the next thing he will not slap you. He will do something else. I cannot. If it is betting, if he's like risking our life and taking all our finances to betting, I'll not do to it. I've given major examples, but let's come to small things. Issues that exposes your family and your children to safety issues, to security issues, should not be issues of debate. And my advice, or what I can say I have seen work with different people, is that knowing the issues they can handle, both of them, knowing the issues they can discuss with their peers, because marriage issues, like I said, they come in different forms, but they are the same. And if we can't talk to each other, we can go and invite the K and the wife, then we chat over it. Not like we are policing each other. You did wrong. We are just discussing and trying to normalize. If you don't have peers who can help you normalize issues in marriage, you can see everything like it's a mountain, yet it's a molehill. That's one of the things. The second thing is that if the boundaries are crossed, there is a need for you to make a decision whether you will talk to a professional counselor. For the people who are married in church, whether they go to pastors, or in our traditional setup, there are people who still go back to their parents. Because most of the times when you're getting to that level, there are children involved, there are investments involved. So you need to get to a level and agree as a couple. In case I cross this line, who can I talk to? We usually say with my husband that he knows there are people who I can call. If I realize he's not processing his stresses well, I know there are people who I can call and tell them, I don't have to be there. Check on Joe. I don't know what is happening. And those people, they don't have to tell me whether they called him. Probably he needed to be away from me for him to normalize his issues. And that takes me to the other point of having proper support system. You don't have to have support system where it is a man and a woman together or a couple. He should have his boys. He should have his career friends, married friends, and I just have to know that this day he's seeing his friends because he needs time out from me. I also need to have my chamas. I need to have church meetings and other things that will help me deflate from the stresses that I'm getting in the house. So just to summarize in terms of boundaries.